So the last video we did about plantar fasciitis, we did about the anatomy of it. And so today's video is going to be about how to start using massage and things like a lacrosse ball or your hands to start working the tissues that are irritated.
Some of the muscles that we're going to be tackling are your gastroc or your calf muscle, one that runs underneath that called your soleus, and then one that runs really deep to that, your posterior tib. It comes down, so this is a deeper muscle underneath the calf. It comes down and wraps around to the side. And then we're also going to work on this egg-shaped muscle that's directly underneath the plantar fascia called the flexor digitorum brevis. When this guy spasms, remember, it sometimes mimics plantar fasciitis. So depending on where your pain is, it may depend on what you're going to use and how you're going to work it. There's kind of three main spots that people get it. So right here on the outside part of the heel, right directly in the heel, and in the arch area. My two problem spots are right here on the side and underneath my arch. So what I'll do to work that egg-shaped muscle, that flexor digitorum that sits under there, is you can see my fascia just pop up right there. And so I work underneath it. So I kind of come at it from the side and just slowly try to work underneath. I'm on the edge of that muscle there, just slowly starting to work that. That really helps at the end of my day when I've been standing all day, alleviate some of that aching. This spot, you know, there's definitely a spot I can find that is on fire, especially after I've done a long run or worn high heels. And so I'll either just sit and hold and wait for it to loosen up and not be quite as sensitive, or I'll sit and rub back and forth on it. Especially I can follow an entire line all the way up my leg when it's tight. And so I think a lot of times we forget to look above for some of this tightness. So using a lacrosse ball, you can kind of pin it down like I was doing with my fingers, move your toes back and forth, or rub back and forth. But again, don't forget to work all the way up. Some of you might even find some issues all the way in the back of your knee, maybe up your hamstring. The calf is also a trigger spot. A lot of acupuncturists will treat plantar fasciitis by putting a needle into the gastroc, or that calf muscle in the back. So there's some trigger spots back there too. So just putting that lacrosse ball underneath your calf, sorry for the jeans, and working your, pushing that right into that calf muscle. You can even pin it down, so I'm adding some pressure down, and then I pull my toes back and forth and back and forth. Some other tool, I bought this thing for like $2 at TJ Maxx, and sometimes my husband doesn't feel like rubbing my feet, so he'll use this because he doesn't have to work so hard, and he'll push on there. Or I can just do this if I'm sitting in the office working on notes to myself. And so just kind of finding those spots that irritate me and working that. Now, from those of you that have it on the heel, in the back of your heel, it'll be the same thing, you know, finding that tender spot and just working through it, or using the lacrosse ball to push down through it. But again, don't forget to work the side. You know, here's that soleus muscle that runs along the side. Work that along with your calf and this posterior tibialis muscle that comes down on the side. You'll find a lot of restrictions through there. And working on that will help release some of the tension that you feel. The next video we'll put out in a couple days is going to be about stretching the plantar fascia and everything that connects to it. And from there we'll talk about prevention stuff. So if you have any questions, shoot us a message. Thanks.